Welcome to Weekly Astrology with Yasmin. I'm Yasmin Boland, your astrologer, your moonologer. I'm a best-selling Hay House author of various books, including Moonology, a guide to working with the moon, and Astrology, which will teach you how to read your own or anyone else's horoscope. So let's get straight into it. As I said, this show is called Weekly Astrology with Yasmin, and there's a good reason for that. That's because every week on this show, we take a look at the week ahead astrology, the astrology for the week ahead. So this week, the big news is that the planet Venus, the planet of romance and riches, is very active. So I'm going to be talking about that and about how that will affect our love lives and our finances, your love life and your finances. Plus the sun is changing signs this week, so I'm going to take a look at what that means as well. When the sun changes signs, the focus for everyone changes. The sun is more or less like a spotlight moving around our chart. Okay, so when the sun changes signs, as it's doing this week, the focus changes signs. This happens about once every 4 weeks, and if you're just learning astrology or just getting interested, watching the sun cycles is really useful, a really useful thing to do. Plus the sun is moving into Sagittarius this week, and that has extra meaning because the planet of lessons, Saturn, is currently at the end of a long stay in that sign. So as the sun moves into Sagittarius and meets Saturn in Sagittarius, lots of S's going on here. Basically, we're all going to get a chance to have a think about what we've learned in the last 2 and a bit years. Okay, so let's start by taking a look at what Venus is doing this week. Venus is the charm and the charmer of the zodiac. She is the divine feminine and the goddess, as well as the temptress. So this week, she's in the sign of Scorpio, which is already interesting, Scorpio being the dark side of the zodiac, and we all have Scorpio somewhere in our chart. She's in Scorpio and she's sextiling Pluto. Now, what this makes me think of instantly is the myth of Persephone. You may or may not know it. The patriarchal telling of this tale, the male version in other words, is that Persephone was a young, sweet, innocent maiden who was captured and raped and kidnapped by the dreadful Hades, lord of the underworld, also known as Pluto. But I would like to share with you now the retelling, the matriarchal retelling of this story, which was given to me by the wonderful Dr. Glenys Livingston, who's a goddess scholar in Australia. Persephone was never that meek and mild. Women don't have to be that meek and mild. In fact, Persephone made the choice to join Hades in the underworld. That is the matriarchal retelling of that story. She did good soul work. She helped souls cross over. That was her power. She was empowered. Women out there, be empowered by the matriarchal retelling of these myths. So Venus is sextiling Pluto this week, and essentially what that means is it's great for passion, it's great for turning your finances around. It's not a super powerful link. It happens often enough, a few times a year, but it's harmonious. So a Venus sextile Pluto is much better than, say, a Venus square Pluto, which is a clash. The other thing that I quite like about this is that it could mop up some of the Mars-Pluto drama from earlier in the week. Now, let me take the astrology out of that and help you make sense of what I'm trying to say. Basically, Venus is the planet of love and relating. She's sextiling Pluto, the planet of transformation, and mopping up after the very furious Mars-Pluto clash we had. So if you've had upsets, if you've had dramas, if you've had shouting and yelling and general difficult times lately, you can hope to mop things up a bit this week, to clean them up, to make them beautiful again, to bring some sweetness back into your life. Moreover, Venus will also be trining the healing planetoid Chiron. So there's a lot of healing in the air this week. Venus is in the sign of Scorpio, which is great if you want to do goddess work, if you want to connect to the divine feminine. And working on the as above, so below theory, which underpins astrology, we could say that with all this Venus action taking place this week, things are going to be going well when it comes to love and money, romance and riches. So I just want to run through very quickly what it means for each sign. If you know your rising sign, listen to that. Simple reason being, listening to your rising sign is like getting a real reading from an astrologer who has your time, date, and place of birth. I won't go into why. I'm going to do a show on that actually eventually. But basically, listen to your rising sign if you know it. If you don't know it and you want to know it, you can go to moonmessages.com/free chart. moonmessages.com/free chart. Okay, so Aries or Aries rising, the Venus action is going to make good things happen for you regarding sex and money. Yes, two of the most interesting things, right? Sex and money. Taurus, it's all good news for you in your 7th house, your love zone. Gemini, it's good news for you, good action from Venus in your 6th house of daily work and health. So nice things happening for you in your daily life. For Cancer, it's to do with romance, creativity, any creative projects you're working on, and kids. So great news for Cancerians because they love anything that's good news about their children. Leo, it's in your 4th house of home and family. Sweet developments there. Virgo, it's a reminder to you to think positively, to focus on the positive. Yes, deal with the negative, but focus on the positive. Venus is in your mind zone, your 3rd house. Libra, it's your 2nd house of cash, property, and possessions. Good news coming for you regarding one or all 3 of those. For Scorpio, it's your whole life, basically. Scorpio, you have Venus in your sign, so all the positive Venus action taking place this week, or Scorpio rising, of course, is actually going to have a big impact on you. Sagittarius, it's in your 12th house, so good things taking place regarding romance and riches behind the scenes. Capricorn, in your 11th house, nice moments for you and a friend. Aquarius, it's in your 10th house of career. It's good financial or even romantic news for you connected to your work. Maybe a work romance on the up and up. Pisces, it's in your 9th house. That means good Venus action, romance and riches to do with study, travel, and the great cosmic quest. So it could be a really good week for you to work with the goddess if you're Pisces or Pisces rising. I just want to say one thing. For me, I'm Cancerian, and we have it in our 5th house, romance, creativity, and kids. And I just thought, as I read that, well, I've just submitted to Hey House my oracle cards. I'm doing some Moonology oracle cards, which will be out in 2018, and I've just submitted them. So I hope that my Venus 5th house goodness will be a creative project, and of course to do with my child, and also to do with romance. But yes, I just thought I'd mention that because you may not know I've got these cards coming out too. Okay, let's move on. All right, so looking ahead, also this week, we have the Sun moving into the sign of Sagittarius. Now, what this does is it highlights the sign of Sagittarius, wherever that is in your chart, and I will go through that in a minute, but more importantly, it highlights Saturn. Saturn is the planet of karma, of loss, of lessons, of hard work, of grueling things, of tedium, of ambition, of getting things done, building stuff, okay? And Saturn brings us lots of lessons and challenges. Having Saturn highlighted might not always seem like a good thing because sometimes it's better if we just can ignore Saturn because there's so much to do, so many challenges and tests that we have to face. However, right now, Saturn is at the very end of a long cycle in the sign of Sagittarius. So we've had 2+ years of having to learn stuff. Okay, so what have been your biggest lessons in the last couple of years? That will be Saturn having affected you. Now, Saturn will be moving out of the sign of Sagittarius and into the sign of Capricorn on December 20. So we are really at the very last point of the Saturn in Sagittarius cycle. It won't come around again for about another 30 years. So again, a quick run through where Saturn has been for all the signs. So Saturn has been in the 9th house for Aries and Aries rising people. It's been in your 9th house. So lessons about Well, for you, many of you will have actually just done some really important study, or there have been lessons about life. Your life philosophies may have changed. Thanks, Saturn, for that. Or it could have been about teaching. For Taurus, your lessons have been to do with sex and finances. For Gemini, your lessons have been coming to you regarding love and via your romantic partners and or your ex and or anyone you consider an enemy. Gemini. This is all for the Gemini rising. Cancer or Cancer rising. It's always also the rising sign. For you, it's all been about tedium of getting things done, getting into rhythms and routines. So a lot of the hard work you've been doing for the past couple of years is going to ease up now. Leo, it's been in your 5th house, so big tough lessons to do with romance, creativity and children. For Virgo, it's been lessons to do with the home. Maybe your home's felt like a bit of a burden for some reason, or your family's been pressuring you, or you've been feeling pressurized with the family. It's going to ease up now. For Libra, it's been about you learning how to train your brain to focus on the positive rather than the negative. Learn the lessons of the past 2 years about focusing on the positive. It will stand you in good stead for the rest of your life, Libra and Libra rising. Scorpio and Scorpio rising, it's been lessons to do with cash, property and possessions. What have you learned? Sagittarius, your whole life has been one big lesson these last 2 years. If you are listening to this, Sagittarius or Sagittarius rising people, it means you survived. Yay! And now is the time for you to start to put into practice all that you've learned in the last couple of years. Capricorn, it's been about you facing up to your fears, and the more fears you've faced up to in the past 12 months, the better the next 2.5 years are going to be for you, Capricorn rising people. Aquarius, it's been about learning lessons through your friends, learning who your friends really are, and also perhaps culling your friends list along the way. Pisces, it's been lessons through work, about ambitions. Your working life is going to ease up now. Plus, also this month, this week, we get Mercury sextiling Uranus this week. That is great for changing someone's mind, great for changing your own mind. A turnaround you're hoping for, no matter what star sign you are, it can come now. It's a positive link, so there's a good chance you can get this sudden reversal you've been hoping for. It's a week where if you've got an issue, one conversation can change everything for the better. Also, just note, Mercury is in Sagittarius, Uranus is in Aries, so this Mercury Uranus sextile is going to be especially positive for Geminis, Virgos, Sagittarians, Aquarians, Leos, Aries, and Libra. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to make it a shorter podcast this week, and I'll be back next week to talk about the full moon in Gemini. And the full moon in Gemini is going to be very interesting, if for no other reason than we are going to get to do some forgiving. Remember, forgiving doesn't mean what happened in the past was right. It means you are ready to move on from it. And forgiving can change your whole entire life. So please tune back in there. You can actually hear the extended version of this on heyhouseradio.com every week. You can also find this on my YouTube channel. So for now, I'm Yasmin Boland. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to speak to you next week.